entered the room. We already got 20 likes before the stream goes off. I appreciate that. Again, supposedly hitting the like uh, helps the algorithm, helps new people find the video. But again, my analytics show every month that there's very few new people reaching this channel. And I suppose that is the consequence of being shadow banned. So, the buzzing news at the moment, Trump says U.S. will meet with Iran next week. This headline came out about 5 hours ago. An hour later, the news broke from Iran saying that there was no planned meeting with Trump. Again, it's just, that's all you get in news is just lies, misinformation, hearsay. We completely obliterated the nuclear sites. A couple days later, the nuclear sites aren't obliterated. Trump says, yes, they are. Iran comes out, their intelligence says, no, actually, they're not. And of course, them not being obliterated creates the narrative for why we need to go in there and bomb again, along with Iran. But yeah, in the height of this escalation between the U.S. and the Muslim nation of Iran, a nation that has been Islamic since the revolution in 79. By the way, let me just pause right there. On YouTube in the information age, you can go and watch all kinds of people who go on vacations around the world, and you can watch them walk the streets of these cities. Do a web search for just people who go to Tehran and other nations in Iran and are walking the streets and seeing what the culture's like and eating the food. If you turn on a network like Fox News right now, they're talking about how women caught without their hijabs on and their headdress and all that, how they are executed, and it's that kind of state. Meanwhile, if you turn on some of these people who are touring the streets of Iran, it is illegal for women to not have the headdress on. But you know what? Look into these tourist videos there. There's actually quite a few women walking the streets without the headdress. And it doesn't seem like they're being beheaded. And it seems like even though it might be the law, it might be something that's not all the way enforced. Just like how there's a lot of laws on the books in the U.S. that don't really get enforced. So again, what you hear on TV just usually isn't the truth. But yeah, anyway, in the height of all of this, New York, the Empire State, in their primary, a big upset, as they're saying, the young 33-year-old Muslim is now the representative for the Democratic side of the ticket, where the election between him and the Republican challenger will be this coming November. And I did a short video on this last night. It got hardly any views. It finally just hit the 1K mark minutes before I started this live stream, which is sad. It's sad. Once upon a time, pretty much all my videos would have 10K views plus within 30 minutes. Now, a lot of these videos, it takes nearly 24 hours just to get to the 1K mark. But yeah, I want to talk about the ritual with the 33-year-old Muslim being named the primary winner on Freemasonry's birthday, the secret society that venerates 33, in light of the history of the 19 hijackers in New York. And then after that, I want to talk about his policies and why nobody should be cheering on policies like this. And nobody should be cheering on either side of the aisle. The right-wing side of the aisle builds the greater state through the police state, the military state, the surveillance state. That's really what the right wing is best at pushing. And you have liberals on board with that too. You have the left on that side of the issue. And then the left wing is always more about building, the socialism, the socialist state, the social security. All of these things make government bigger. And the bigger government becomes, the less freedom you have from both sides. Like, this is the handcuff of the left, this is the handcuff of the right. And, this idea of state-run grocery stores, of course, this is coming right now because food prices are so high. And why are food prices so high? Because of all the printing of dollars from the time of Cooties 19, where neither political party objected to it in a sincere enough way to stop it. You could say that there were more people on the right objecting to the policies of Cooties 19, but of course the president was representing the Republicans, and he did go along with printing of trillions of dollars, which no doubt caused the inflation of what we see in the cost of pretty much everything, because that's economics 101. You print money, your money becomes worth less than it was before. It was easy to understand before any of us got a stimulus check. But yeah, again, this is why you're hearing these kind of ideas right now. It's created the climate where people are looking for a way for life to be affordable. And he's saying, listen, let's have the state come in, keep prices more fair for people, more affordable. But think about what that's ultimately going to mean. That's going to mean greater cooperation with governments and corporations. And it's going to further drown out the small farmer. Small farmer's not going to be able to. It's just like NAFTA, right? It's just like when they passed the NAFTA trade deal to get consumer prices lower, it killed small farmers. The only farmers that could operate at the set price of corn and other agricultural goods were the type of mass agriculture companies that sell a gazillion units of corn. They were the only ones who could profit from this model. The typical farmer said, well, if I got to sell corn at that much, our whole family's going to starve. I won't be able to pay any bills. We won't even be able to afford our own corn. It's the same thing here again. If you want a greater state corporate agricultural system, that's where the state-run farm will come. And God, I'm trying to remember the author's name. She's written so many books. Barbara, I can't think of her last name. A lot of people have read this book. It's one of those New York Times bestsellers. It's been out for 20 years. She did an experiment as a famous author where she gave up her way of life and she just took her family out to the country and they just tried to live sustainably off the land, just grow all their own food, not have to shop at the markets, just tried to see what it would be like to be, like a pioneer in the pre-industrial age. Barbara Kingsolver, I think is her name. God, I haven't read the book for like 20 years. I'm trying to think of the woman's name. But in that book, she's talking about how much society's changed and how 100 years before she wrote the book, if you went to a farmer's market, there'd be 500 different kinds of vegetables out there. And the reason there were so many different varieties is because there were so many independent farmers and this family liked to grow this and they brought this tradition from their part of the world. And now we live in this age where we're all used to going to the grocery store, and the grocery store usually has about 20 different kinds of vegetables, 15 different kinds of fruit. There's about 35 things to choose from, whereas 100 years earlier, you would have had 500 vegetables to choose from, 300 different fruits. Of course, not all at once, because it was also grown with the seasons, but the point was there was a lot more diversity of the things people were eating, and it is good to have diversity in your diet because you're getting all kinds of nutrients. The reason that there's so few choices compared to what there was 100 years ago is because of this industrialization and this mass agriculture and companies specializing in growing a gazillion units of corn or a gazillion apples or a gazillion oranges or bananas. And then they just mass produce that. And once upon a time, there were 1,000 different farmers that occupied a plot of land and grew all kinds of different things. Now it's Dole owns all that land and just puts all bananas there, et cetera, et cetera. Some people might shrug their shoulders and say, well, I don't care. I feel like I have enough diversity. The point is, when you get the merger of the state and the corporation, you get less choice. You get less freedom. You just get more centralized control. And it's usually not better for anybody. Again, just look at what's happened to the average human being in the industrial age. Are they really doing better? They might be more entertained than they ever have been. There might be more entertainment than there ever was, but is people's quality of life better? No, we all know the answer to that's no. Almost everybody's medicated on some kind of drug because there's something wrong with their mind or their body. I mean, just turn on the news. What is the whole segment between you get 10 minutes of propaganda, then 5 minutes of news, 10 more minutes of propaganda, 5 minutes of news. What are all the advertisements in that news? It's almost all drugs for diabetes, weight loss, anxiety, depression. It's like, God, I mean, what kind of society is this? All right, back to the propaganda, which is all negativity and fear-driven and crap. And then here, 5 more minutes of here, which one of these drugs do you need? Here's another drug for you to try out. Again, this is where we are right now, just under total mind control, being lied to at all times. More and more, we're supposed to submit to the state and the mega corporation and keep looking for government to solve the latest problem that they created for us, just like right now. They made things super expensive through their lockdowns and their mass printing of dollars and making people stay at home and give up their way of life. And, oh, you're not necessary, only Walmart, Costco, and Amazon is. These were all decisions by the state that now are bringing about this new state solution where the state will even run your grocery store. So, okay, all that aside, let's look again at the ritual of how perfect this is with the 33-year-old Muslim. And don't think I'm saying Muslim like I have a problem with Muslims. Again, as someone who used to teach in South Seattle, the most diverse school district in the United States at the time, and it might still be because all the refugees down there, I learned that Muslim families were very good, caring families and good people. And, not to piss people off, but seemingly better people than the average American by a long shot. I don't like religion, but I'm showing you why they're doing this ritual with the Muslim as we get this tension with the U.S. and Israel and everything going on in the Middle East. All the nations were bombing in and, supporting Israel's military to also bomb in. Just look at this. Look at this. Again, if you're new here, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Gematria. Within this practice, Masonry equals 33. It was modern Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th. Modern Freemasonry was born June 24th, 1717 in London, England. The city divided into 33 neighborhood areas. Not to mention England also equals 33, as does New York. But Masonry, federal, secrecy, order, all 33. This isn't a federal election, but you never know. This guy might be a future prominent member of the federal government as well. His birthday, the anniversary of Event 201. October 18th. That is the day leaving 74 days left in the year. Big number with the Masons, Masonic 74. I've taught about this a million times. The pairing of 74 and 33 in Masonic ritual. Again, out of the 50 states, only one equals 74. It's Oregon, the 33rd state. The World Trade Centers that came down 33 years after construction began came down on the 74th meridian. Et cetera, et cetera. You follow the way sports are rigged, the 74-33 pairing, when it comes together, it hits. Very special pairing is 74-33. We've always explained it being Masonic. Here's the latest ritual. The next mayor of New York will be the 111th. New York has that 111 connection. Again, if you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language: alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. But New York, 111, remember September 11th, the day the Muslims supposedly attacked. Of course, they couldn't find the planes, they couldn't find the black boxes, they couldn't find the bodies, but they found the terrorist passports, according to Bernard Carrick, who just died a few weeks ago, and he'll never be able to account for his lies. But it should be an obvious lie to everyone. It should have been obvious from day one. You kind of got to be brain dead to not realize it was a lie. I mean, in what world does, a massive explosion and fireball happen and everything is destroyed, including, metal, bodies, bones, everything except for the terrorist passports. And this was a major wake-up call for me when I was 18 about just how dumb the average American was, because almost everybody believed that story. And I know what it was to be 18 when this happened and question that and bring those things up in a room full of people. I was in college. I'd get attacked by my peers, my professor, and everybody had the same rhetorical shit. You sound like you're mentally ill. Why don't you move out of the country then? Huh? So what are you saying? America attacked itself? It's just like, yeah. No, I'm not mentally ill. Yeah, they did. Pretty clear they attacked themselves to start another war. I mean, this idea of false flags, it's been around. It's not new. The SS did this, and of course, they brought over a bunch of SS scientists at the end of that war. Mr. Project Paperclip, big 201 ritual, like 2 towers became 0 before they became 1. But yeah, so the next mayor is the 111th, and 9/11 was the day leaving 111 days left in the year. Now, look at this man's full name. Zohran Mamdani. His name equals 190, right? And the day that he was chosen, June 24th, that's the 175th day of the year. Like Flight 175 was one of the flights that hit the towers. But it's the day leaving 190 days remaining. And 190 is the 19th triangular number. Again, 19 hijackers supposedly on 9/11. The lead hijacker born in 68, Mohammed Atta, the same year Timothy McVeigh was born. Kind of like how he worked for the CIA and bin Laden's CIA name was Timothy Osman. Remember, in 68, Mohammed Atta born, McVeigh born, World Trade Center construction began in New York, 911 made the national emergency dialing code, Papa Bush was at the CIA, His son, who was the president when 9/11 happened, was getting out of Yale Skull and Bones. The New York Jets won Super Bowl III, like 3 planes supposedly hit targets on 9/11, and then the New York Jet took out Drew Bledsoe to give rise to Tom Brady and the Patriots in the time of the Patriot Act. Scripted sports, scripted news. Again and again, we talked about what they just did this week with the Crusader coach winning the championship for the Thunder, as the Secretary of Defense with the Crusader tattoos all over his body is supposedly responsible in part for the decision to bomb Iran. Fresh over from Fox News. But yeah, again, the Quran Code discovered in 68 as well, and the Quran Code says the whole book boils down to the number 19. Every significant number in the book is divisible by 19, including the 114 surats. 114 surats in the Quran. What day is the election in New York? It's going to be November 4th, 114. Also, the man that he's running against, Silwa, it represents the Republicans. Silwa just happens to equal 19. And I noticed the day after the election would be the 19th day of Mamdani's age, and 2 days after, November 6th, would be 19 days after his birthday. So I wonder if it's a close race and it's decided on the 5th. Remember the 5th of November, or even the day after. If you drop his middle name, I missed the space here, but I still have the right letters. If you drop his middle name, his name equals 137, which is the 33rd prime, going with him being 33 years old, Masonry's birthday. Remember, words like government and authority are 137. Cuomo, the Jesuit who went to Fordham like Trump, who sanctioned Event 201 in his city, the simulation for the cooties. No, it's 201, that big Jesuit number, in this race where he gets shocked by the 33-year-old, just happened to be 201 days from his last birthday. And he's 67 years old right now, like 67's the 19th prime. And he's going to turn 68 later this year, like the year things went down, including the lead hijacker being born. And then for more mockery, the election was 79 days before September 11th. And I guarantee you there's so many people right now having conversations like, can you believe we're going to have a Muslim here in New York City in light of what they did to us, in light of what those Muslims did to us? People probably throwing around the towel head term and all that crap today. I'm sure those kind of conversations have been ignited everywhere. But look, again, we're talking about just, the Iranian Revolution in 79, the Thunder, who went from Seattle, who won it in 79, to Oklahoma, the 46th state, have now won it 46 years later. And if you missed my work on how the finals with the Crusader coach was perfectly synced up with the bombing, better check that out. But this was the 79th season. Of course, the chump just turned 79 years old. I'm talking about the orange goon, Donald Trump. But look at all those 79s. Osama bin Laden, Society of Jesus, Knights Templar, Christianity. 79 days prior, the Jesuit stooge Cuomo goes down in the shocker. And again, this year will be the 24th anniversary. Muslim 24, Iran 24. Actually, I should have put this up here too. Remember how they killed bin Laden at age 54 on the 54th day of his age? Look at this. September 11th, 2025 to the election date. November 4th, 2025 is 54 days. Jesuit Order 54, Islam 54, terrorism 54. Again, bin Laden was killed at age 54 on the 54th day of his age, It's funny how that lines up too. And here's what makes things interesting. After seeing this, I'm a little bit torn on who will win, but from him becoming the candidate to face the Republican, it's a span of 134 days. Mamdani equals 134. Mayor Sliwa, if that's how you say his last name, the opposition is also 134. And remember, that's a big number with the 9th of Av, which is 9/11 in Judaism. That's the day to remember the destruction of the 2 towers, not to be confused with the 2 temples. Both 9th of Av and Tisha B'Av equal 134, as well as Make America Great Again. Number we talk about a lot with the ritualism, and I've always talked about where those number sequence fit in with 9/11. So now you have this. Again, the Masons are the builders. They venerate 33. The buildings came down 33 years after construction. Now this. Yesterday also had 75 date numerology. Muslim also equates to 75. That's like New World Order. Papa Bush gave a speech about the New World Order 11 years to the day of 9/11, where it went down in New York, the 11th state, with the buildings that look like an 11 with flight AA11, et cetera, et cetera. And from the guy who he's running against, Curtis Sliwa, or however you say it, his birthday is March 26th. I forgot to put the screenshot of his birthday in here. I did. If you look it up, his birthday is March 26th. From his birthday to the elections, 223 days. The other big Masonic number. He's 71 years old. Like Catholic equals 71. He is Catholic. You could also say, rather than 223 days after his birthday, that it would be the 224th day of his age. The Society of Jesus equals 71 and 224. He's Polish, and of course, Poland reminds of World War II, and these angles are going to come up because, of course, all that justified supposedly the state of Israel, where those people now do to the brown people in Gaza what the SS did to the people in Poland and other parts of Europe. So, yeah, I mean, it's just major league ritualism, and it's just so obvious, and it's not the conversation happening really anywhere in America because very few people have caught on, and a lot of that does have to do with suppression of information, and another part has to do with people's minds being bombarded with crap, which they think is legitimate because they've been trained their whole life that, oh yeah, you watch the news, you listen to the authorities, that's the truth. People on the internet are cuckoo crazy, no matter how many times they prove their point and educate about what's really going on. So, yeah, we're going to watch his speech here, and I'm just going to address the things he's saying. Real quick, though, I also just want to make sure we don't overlook this. Remember, Diddy was arrested by the Department of Homeland Security in Manhattan when the Department of Homeland Security came out of September 11th. And one of the songs banned on the radio after September 11th was Juicy by Bad Boy Records because Biggie says blow up like the World Trade. And remember, Diddy got arrested in a 119 ritual in Manhattan. We talked about that at the time. But again, yesterday on Masonry's birthday, his defense wrapped up in 20 minutes. Remember, the whole thing's about Cassie. Diddy was arrested 56 days after the anniversary of No Way Out. That's his album, and think about the title, No Way Out. The defense rested it after 20 minutes. Diddy was arrested on the day leaving 106 days left in the year. And yesterday was 43 days after the trial began on May 12th. All four values of Cassie from the base ciphers just hitting in every angle of this. Keep in mind, Masonic's 43 as well. And they're saying it's going to wrap up this Friday, which will be 46 days after the trial began. Diddy's 46. Not Guilty's 46. And after all this hype about supposedly all these people, all these young children, all these A-list celebrities, again, there was none of that. And the whole trial was based on Cassie and a Jane Doe, an unnamed person. So the only named person was Cassie. And it doesn't sound like anything substantial was brought to the table. Again, you had Stephen A. Smith, getting big on this, saying that Diddy was going to off himself like Epstein after the arrest. And there was just so much hype into all this stuff. And of course, it was all by the numbers. And like I told you, once the trial comes, it'll all be by the numbers too. But just look at how perfect it all is. All Cassie, just like it was all Cassie from day one. And again, just to recap this too, in case you missed this piece of information about the scripted NBA Finals, one of the last stories for the last ritualistic deaths was the 48-year-old cameraman for the Pacers who died just before the game and didn't get to see his team get eliminated. Again, the NBA Finals is 48, like his age of death. But they said he died from colon cancer. Notice in the base ciphers, colon cancer, 49 and 59. By the Pacers losing, they became 49 and 59 versus the Thunder all-time in Game 7. And the final score was 103 to 91 in Game 7. That's 194 total points, 103 to 91. So you got all the colon cancer numbers from the last reported death just synced up perfectly with the game. And remember, the whole series was a tribute to Timothy McVeigh, the OKC bomber. The playoffs began on April 19th this year. June 11th game was the anniversary of Timothy McVeigh's execution in Indiana. Execution 116. There were 116 points scored by the winning Pacers that day. But again, McVeigh, the Turner Diaries is what inspired him to do it. It's the story. The Turner Diaries has the 194 and 103. Also 86 and 103 like Mercury. Mercury's Wednesday, April 19th, 95 was a Wednesday. McVeigh was arrested in a Mercury marquee. The term finals was coined in 86. And just think about that too, because that was this huge act of terrorism. He did it because of Koresh, who was killed at 33. Then McVeigh's executed at 33, 3 months to the day of 9/11, where 3 structures are hit by 3 planes, kind of like another 33. And again, his name was Timothy McVeigh. He worked for the CIA prior to supposedly going mental. And again, Bin Laden, CIA name was Timothy Osman. And don't forget, they just put out that Bin Laden documentary on Israel's 77th birthday, going with Flight 77, hitting the 77-foot-tall Pentagon 77 minutes after taking off on September 11th, which, written out as words, has a gematria value of 77, like United States. And yeah, it's just, again, I mean, these are good examples because, again, it just shows how the ciphers work, how the 4 ciphers come together in this perfect ritualism. Just another example of how sports and news are scripted together. But yeah, let's transition now to listening to the 33-year-old Muslim's victory speech for the primary.
This is breaking news.
Let me know if our audio levels are good. Yeah, shout out to Open Up, who sent in $2 and said, remember which NFL team hired the first Muslim coach? Of course, it was the New York Jets. More mockery. And thank you, Blizzard Peak, also for the $1. We eclipsed yesterday's $2. We're now at $3. Thank you. I'm gonna do this at 1.5 to get through this quicker.
Thank you. Thank you, my friends. Tonight, we made history. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. My friends, we have done it.
And again, this guy's from Uganda. He's not an American, right? Just remember, 11 years to the day. The towers that look like an 11 came down the 11th state, popping off with AA11. And again, 11 years to the day, or 11 years earlier, was the speech about a new world order, a world freer of terror, and how it will be realized. So this is an international man, right? In the land of the immigrant. Well, until this very moment with the Trump in office. This is enough with the immigrants. Get them out of here. But yeah, this is not a man born in America, Uganda.
Guess which student has a better chance of getting into an Ivy League school? First, take a look at Zach. He's valedictorian, national merit scholar.
I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. An hour ago, I spoke with Andrew Cuomo about the need to bring this city together, as he called me to concede the race. And I want to thank Brad Lander.
And I mean, how's he even running against Cuomo anyway? And how perfect is it? It's 201 days from Cuomo's last birthday. But I mean, Cuomo, he went out in disgrace, right? Well, it's funny how they give us all these choices, these deviants. I mean, it's just, yeah, and that creates the narrative, right? They're like, well, people, they really didn't like Cuomo because of the allegations and what he supposedly did to women and young women. And again, it all creates the narrative for this to happen. But let's continue.
Who did exactly that? Together we have shown the power of the politics of the future.
Again, there's no together. All these elections are selections. It's all planned. It's all by the numbers. It's people born and bred to be. It's people from powerful families that are part of these clubs, these secret societies. It's these Manchurians. again, it's just so obvious. Should be obvious to everybody. But the average American, do they know it's modern Freemasonry's birthday? The average American's like my sister. My sister thinks Freemasonry is a conspiracy theory, which is just absolute insanity since Freemasonry pretty much has a lodge in every town in America. Let's continue.
One of partnership and of sincerity. Today,
this thing they have up there with 92% of the vote in. Remember, Manhattan equals 92, right? Where it all went down. And the 43.5, I could say a lot of things about that, but Masonic does have the big 43 connection. We're just about that with the Diddy ritual. But yeah, that 92 is a tribute to Manhattan, no doubt about it.
8 months after launching this campaign, with the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford, we have won. We have won from Harlem to Bay Ridge. We have won from Jackson Heights to Port Richmond. We have won from Maspeth to Chinatown. We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. One where those who toil in the night.
Again, where's the conversation about how we got to this point where everything is so expensive and so many people are struggling? I guarantee this guy doesn't ever talk about the real reasons for why that is. And it has everything to do with central banks and the merger of the state and the corporation, which is fascism, which has been going on in this country for a long time. That's why the fasces is on the wall of the House of Representatives in our nation's capital, known as the Masonic City, where the Jesuits set up camp before anybody. And again, the Jesuits, big ties to Italy, like Mussolini, who coined the term. These people never really tell you how we really got there, because that way they never really have to address the problems. They just capitalize on the moment. Everyone knows everything's expensive right now. The rent's too damn high. The food's too damn high. But is he ever going to talk about what policies were made by government and corporations that got us to where we are? No. And he's also not going to tell you that these state-run stores are just going to further strengthen that alliance between corporation and government. And the stronger that alliance becomes, the harder it is for the individual to be an individual and not become part of the corporatocracy. There's less opportunity for the individual. Again, the opportunities that become the Walmarts in your community to be a cash register worker, sign up for a mercenary in the New World Order workforce. Anyway, let's continue.
Can enjoy the fruits of their labor in the day. Where hard work is repaid with a stable life. Where 8 hours on the factory floor or behind the wheel of a cab is enough to pay the mortgage. It is enough to keep the lights on. It is enough to send your kid to school. Where rent-stabilized apartments are actually stabilized.
Again, and politicians do this too. Like, he's talking about all the things that are true. Like, it's crazy how much people have to work and how little they have to show for it. But how? How? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to solve those problems? We're going to fix all these things. We're going to fix that, this. How? State-run grocery stores? Well, what new problems is that going to create?
Where buses are fast and free. Where childcare doesn't cost.
I can imagine a city that has the buses running all the time, which is expensive. It's not free. The taxpayers are paying for it. I mean, if you're promising things that are free, that's a lie right there. Nothing's free. They're all going to be free. How? How are they all going to be free?
Cost more than CUNY. And where public safety keeps us truly safe. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
See, that's a lie too. I can't stand the chump. This whole thing about Donald Trump, remember, fascist equals 47. That's how you really see that coming out right now. But this nation's been fascist. Both sides of the aisle are fascist. Look at all the big donors to both parties. They're all the mega corporations. Fortune 500 runs your government.
To stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors. And to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party. A party where we fight for working people with no apology. A life of dignity should not be reserved for a fortunate few. It should be one that city government guarantees for each and every New Yorker.
How's a government guarantee anybody's future? I mean, again, it's talking about the state controlling you and your destiny. I mean, your future should be dictated by you and what you put into life. Of course, we don't have that right now. It's just like all the people dreaming that they wanted to grow up and be the mayor, they never had a shot because they had it all designed for this little puppet to put up there at age 33 on Masonry's birthday. He's going to come here and sell you the American dream again. Half-truthing it all the way. That's all these politicians ever do.
This campaign has demonstrated anything to the world. It is that our dreams can become reality.
Yeah, there it is, American dream. Gotta be
Dreaming
asleep.
demands hope. And when I think of hope, I think of the unprecedented coalition of New Yorkers that...
And again, just going full Obama here, right? Let's bring up the hope thing. Remember, hope equals 44, what number 44 ran on. After 8 years of fear-mongering of Osama and Saddam Hussein, we get Barack Hussein Obama. And then Obama ups the bombing of drones all across the Middle East. Obama was really bombing. And now here we are, this new escalation between the U.S. and Islam and the nation's biggest city, the Empire City, the Islamic Socialist.
we have built. For this is not my victory. This is ours. It is the victory of the Bangladeshi auntie who knocked on door after door until her feet throbbed and her knuckles ached. It is the victory of the 18-year-old who voted in their first ever election. And it is the victory of the Gambian uncle who finally saw himself and his struggle in a campaign for the city that he calls home. Dreaming demands solidarity.
Survivors of LDS church sex abuse are being heard and receiving compensation. Thanks to recent changes.
I've never seen that ad before, but the first time in my own life that I came across the idea that adults sexually abuse their children, it was a Mormon family doing it to their 6-year-old boy. And I'll never forget the night. I was just a little bit older than him. I was 8 at the time, but he was running out in the street buck naked, screaming for help. And my neighbor next door, his last name was Cop. He's a legitimate police officer. C-O-P-P. Yeah, the only person who ever picked me up by my neck in my life as a child, the police officer named Cop. But I remember that family did call the police, and the police came over, and nothing was done about it. Nothing was done about it, but 6-year-old boy screaming that Papa LDS was touching him in all the wrong ways. Anyway, let's continue.
And when I look out at this room and out onto the midnight skyline, that is what I see. Canvas launches that continued in the pouring rain. Children who called parents. Strangers who care about those they will never meet. A New York that believes in each other and in itself. This is solidarity. And it defines our victory. And above all, dreaming demands work. Last Friday night, as the sun began to drop in the sky, I set off on a 13-mile walk from the northernmost tip of Manhattan to the base of the island. We began.
I mean, come on, man. A 13-mile walk? What could be more Masonic? These are their numbers. 1333. I went on a 13-mile walk. And last Friday would have been June 20th, right? Let's remind what matters about that date. I was telling you about the ritual they did last Friday for the 206 area code. Seattle, remember they're playing the only team that equals 206, the Cubs, and Raleigh, their catcher, it was 206 days after his birthday, and he batted 2 home runs, getting to 29 for the year like his jersey number. But like Masonic's 29. But here's the thing about 206. Masonic temple, 206, and what's the phrase? The body's the temple. How many bones are in an adult human body? Here, if you don't know the answer, how many bones in an adult human body? Of course, you know this if you read the first chapter of my book that I wrote in 2017. 206. This is all Masonry. Last Friday, I went on a 13-mile walk on the 20th day of the 6th month. And now look at me on Freemasonry's birthday. This is all thanks to, this is all thanks to the secret societies that you're clearly a part of. Speaking in code. My 13-mile walk. Let's continue.
Began in Inwood, where music played and neighbors set out dominoes on the sidewalk. It was 7 p.m. The weekend had arrived. For most people, the time for work was over. But this is New York, where the work never ends. Waiters carried plates on 181st Street. Conductors drove the subways that...
181st Street. I mean, just stop. That's the 42nd prime. Freemason 42. NYC 42. You know what I mean? You had to go to 181st Street. What other tributes do we have here?
High above 125th. And world-class musicians tuned instruments as we passed Lincoln Square. By the time we made it downtown, a crowd marched...
Just in case anybody's like, you didn't say that about 125, I'll say it right now. Remember when Trump had the 145% tariffs on China and they had 125% on us? Again, numerology. Important to the occult, important to the Masons who etch on the temple, all his number.
Behind us, a living embodiment of the energy and purpose that defines this campaign. Still, long past...
And just for one more, from 181st to 125th would be 56 blocks, right? Freemasons, the plural, has that 56 connection. It's also big with the Jesuits. Trust me, you pay attention. All is number.
Midnight, New York worked. Garbage trucks weaved through empty streets. Fishmongers carried in tomorrow's wares. And when we finally arrived at the Battery at 2:20 a.m. in the morning, the workers who run the Staten Island Ferry were on the job too. Just as they are every hour of the day, every day of the week. Each of these New Yorkers carried a dream with them.
The 220 thing, remember, that's a big number with Trump, and his whole thing is like being the anti-Trump. There might be more to it. It's a big number. It's the 140th minute of the day, which is big with Washington, but the 220 is probably a reference to his opposition to Trump. Remember, from Trump's birthday to the inauguration days, 220 days every year. Donald John Trump, 220. Anyway, let's continue.
Them that night as they labored. Just as each of us dreams of a New York that is more hopeful.
Because people should be asking, like, what the hell? Like, you remember that it was 2:20 in the morning? Like, was that an important detail? And there could be something else about 2:20 that I don't even know. But yeah, just all this code information. My 13-mile walk in the land of 13 stripes, where you go to 13 years of slave school and get your head filled with all these false ideas. So you come out as a robot and you just go along with all the lies for the rest of your life and never question anything, because somewhere in there you learned that if you don't get along with authority, you're some kind of conspiracy theorist. Here, let's continue.
Affordable for all. And we have worked hard for our dream. This has been a historically contentious race. One that has filled our airwaves with millions in smears and slander. I hope now that this primary has come to an end, I can introduce myself once more. Not as you've seen me in a 30-second ad or in a mailer in your mailbox, but as how I will lead as your mayor. I will be the mayor for every New Yorker. Whether you voted for me, for Governor Cuomo, or felt too disillusioned by a long, broken political system to vote at all, I will fight for a city that works for you, that is affordable for you, that is safe for you. I will work to be a mayor you will be proud to call your own. I cannot promise that you will always agree with me, but I will never hide from you. If you are hurting, I will try to heal. If you feel misunderstood, I will strive to understand. Your concerns will always be mine.
I do hate listening to politicians talk. Can you imagine, like, you're hurting and you call up his office and you're like, hey, secretary, you know, I was listening to that speech and he said, if I'm hurting, he'll be there. Could I talk to him right now? You think they'd be like, oh, yeah, let me patch you through. He'll have him on here in 10 seconds. You think that's ever going to happen? No, it'll be like me. I mean, how many times over the years have I called these politicians' office? Never got a single call back, not once. Not even when I called the guy right here in my own district. Didn't even get a call back. Just talking, and not meaning a word of what he said. Not one word does he mean. Just, this is written for me. It sounds real nice and snazzy. It connects to the current climate, the current state of affairs we got you into through all of our bad policy decisions before. Yeah, things are through the roof. Now here I'm running and I'm saying I'm going to make it better. I'll make it even worse. Just watch me. Watch how my state-run stores make it even worse.
and I will put your hopes before my own. And I know that those hopes extend beyond our 5 boroughs. There are millions of New Yorkers who have strong feelings about what happens overseas. I am one of them. And while I will not abandon my beliefs or my commitments, grounded in a demand for equality, for humanity, for all those who walk this earth, you have my word to reach further, to understand the perspectives of those with whom I disagree, and to wrestle deeply with those disagreements. Let me close with this.
This is Pod 5, the first fully immersive sleep system. Intelligent.
In these dark times, I know that it is harder than ever to keep faith in our democracy. It has been attacked by billionaires and their big spending, by elected officials who care more about self-enrichment than the public trust, and by authoritarian leaders who rule through fear. But above all, our democracy has been attacked from within. For too long, New Yorkers have strained to find a leader who represents us, who puts us first. And we have been betrayed time and again. After so many disappointments, the heart hardens. Belief becomes elusive. And when we no longer believe in our democracy, it only becomes easier for people like Donald Trump to convince us of his worth. For billionaires to convince us that they must always lead. As FDR said, democracy has disappeared in several other great nations. Not because the people disliked democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children.
Isn't it crazy just listening to a puppet installed by the numbers in a secret society ritual say these things? I did like, though, the point that he was... the one thing I got to say is I haven't heard him talk about negative and being fear-mongering like so many politicians are. That is kind of nice, but that's, you know, he's getting to be the light in the dark in this part of the script, but it's just... It's annoying that everybody doesn't see through it in an instant. The perfect ritual.
Children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and weakness. In desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in the hope of getting something to eat. New York, if we have made one thing clear over these past months, it is that we need not choose between the two. We can be free and we can be fed. We can demand what we deserve. And together...
Again, explain how you're more free when you have state-run grocery stores. You know the state's not going to cooperate with local farmers. They might have a little section for it. It might be some small handouts. And this is going to be more government mega corporation. It's just, that's, and for anyone who says, how do you know that? That's just, look at history. That's all it's been. I mean, why would it be anything else? God. It all sounds good, but like, where's the logic in it? How do these things get achieved? How do you reverse what's been done by printing of all these dollars? If I heard him saying things like what we say, like, listen, the reason this happened is because they lied to you at that banker scam out of Switzerland. You know, right? The banks are right next door to the World Health Organization, and they did all this fear mongering, and they locked you down, and the state and the government and the corporations made the decision for who could go to school and work and where you could worship. And next thing you know, they had to print a whole bunch of dollars and create all these new psychological problems. If he's saying we can't really undo that, but we can make sure that none of that happens again. And as long as I'm in the mayor, there's not going to be any more of this fear-mongering crap. There'll be no more totalitarian shit like that from the state. I mean, that'd be like, oh, okay, all right, he's calling out. But he's not saying any of that. He's not mentioning how we got here. He's just saying these are the problems, and I'm going to fix all those things without saying how. Because your state-run stores aren't going to do it.
Together we have built a movement where everyday New Yorkers recognize themselves in our vision of democracy. Every new voter registered, that is faith renewed. Every voter who traveled through withering heat to the polls, that is faith renewed. And every New Yorker who sees solutions.
Is it faith renewed to you guys that people are still going out and voting in rigged selections? To me, that's not faith renewed. It's like, God, how depressing. How depressing. People don't know that Cuomo, why it matters, is 201 days from his birthday, and we got this 33-year-old winner on Masonry's birthday. People don't see the Jesuit Masonic Alliance, the same thing that's been here since the beginning of the country. They don't see how it's alive and well right here in today's ritual, where you're hearing another politician fill your heads with all kinds of bullshit. The fact that the whole nation doesn't know about it in the information age, when it seems like just this channel enough should have been enough to educate the whole populace. I mean, what more do we need to be right about? How many more times do we need to show the same things? No, my faith isn't restored. It's just how depressing. That's how it is.
To the daily challenges they face in this campaign, that is faith renewed. Together, New York, we have renewed our democracy. We have given our city permission to believe again. And I pledge to you that we will remake this great city, not in my...
I just got to remind, the word believe has lie right in the middle, B-E, and then L-I-E, you know, L-I-E-V-E, and believe equals 33. So let this 33-year-old lie to you and make you believe again.
Image, but in the image of every New Yorker who has only known struggle. In our New York, the power belongs to the people.
How?
And as I thank the people that are here with me today, and as I thank the incredible leaders who have long fought.
I mean, the other thing is, too, when you're at the state level, you only have so much power. If the feds don't like what you're doing, they can just come in and crush it and thwart it and ruin it. It's just like out here in Washington State, when they legalized cannabis, you still had the feds coming in and ruining people's property, their lives, stealing all of their wealth, putting them in cages. It was the law in the state, but the feds said, oh, no, it's not our law, though. So, I mean, that's everything, too. These state representatives should be talking about how this federal government, like, I can only... That's something that needs to be done about. The power of the feds. The federal power needs to be greatly reduced.
For those people who are here across this crowd and across these 5 boroughs and standing next to me in the Attorney General of this state, in the Public Advocate of this city, in our Congresswoman, Nydia Velasquez, in our Controller, Brad Lander, and in every single person who believed in this campaign long before it was easy to do so. And you believed when it was difficult. We dreamt in the night. And we are now building in the dawn. That new day, the one that we have yearned for, the one that we have struggled for, the one that we have knocked for, have texted for, have called for, the one that we have obsessed over. That new day is finally here, my friends. And it is here because you have delivered it. Thank you.
All right, it looks like from there it's just cheering and waving goodbye. I'm going to open up the phone line. If you guys have any more information on this candidate or observations, I'd like to take those calls. I'm also going to look into where he came from and his family, from Uganda. We'll see what else makes sense about this ritual, because I guarantee there's more layers to it. I just hit everything on the surface. If you guys want to call in, it is the number on the screen. It's that 509 number at the bottom center of the screen. Shout out to Trevor, who sent over a nice $20 Cash App. I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, if you guys want to call in, the line is open. And let's look a little bit more into here, Mr. Mamdani. 33, quite young for a politician. I wonder what the youngest mayor is in the history of New York. Is it... Let's see. Boy, I can't type. Who is the youngest mayor in the history of New York? Hugh Grant, first inaugurated at age 30. What's up, 929?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Yeah, what's going on?
I noticed from Eric Adams' September 1st birthday up until the election November 4th is 65 days, if you include his birthday September 5th, and he turned 65. And Zohran, his first and his last name equals 65, the most pure.
His name reminds me of the Zohar, too, Kabbalistic text, but okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and also, too, it's funny how yesterday, him being born in Uganda in Africa, yes, it was also the anniversary of the worst African train disaster in history, June 24, 2002. And it's called the Igandu train disaster. And he was born and Zohran was born in Uganda.
So it sounds like it was 23 years to the day.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
And I see that the youngest mayor in New York's history was the 88th mayor, which was 23 mayors ago. And of course, 88 is a big number with Trump. And it's also a big number with Fordham, where Cuomo went.
Yeah. I actually live close, 5 minutes away from Fordham. There was this fake. Well, they said they said an alert on my phone that there was a nuclear bomb in Fordham University 2 days ago.
Huh.
And then they said that, and then they said that it was a false alarm. It was just some random fire.
Interesting. Okay.
So I wanted to point out those two things.
I appreciate those observations. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. Thank you. You have a good day.
Mm.
He represented the 36th district. We know 666 is the 36th triangular number. New York and Sumerian Gematria has that 666 connection. IHS, Jesuit acronym, has the 36. He's based in Queens, like the Mets. Trump's a Queens guy too. Trump as well. Remember how this year started, 2025, with the three tragedies, the one in New Orleans at the football game, the one at the Trump Tower with the guy blowing up the Tesla, and then the nightclub shooting in Queens, and all of them had 45 encoded, and 2025 has a square root of 45. The guy who bombed the Trump Tower with the Tesla, his name equaled 369, like the Tesla has the quote about 369 and unlocking the secret of the universe. He announced his candidacy for mayor in 2024. I might want to go back and look at what day that was. Let's see. So his campaign platform includes support for free city buses. Again, there's no such thing as free. Those will be paid for by the taxpayers. Now, he might be suggesting that the rich and wealthy pay higher rates to cover that. And a lot of people are opposed to the very high marginal tax rates that this country used to have, but if you go back and look, there was a lot better quality of life for the average American when the super wealthy were paying at a 90% marginal tax rate. And dopes will hear that, like the Andrew Wilsons, the one go, 90% tax rates? That's not fair. It's like a 90% marginal tax rate doesn't mean you pay 90% taxes. It means you pay at the same tax rate as everybody else through whatever threshold of income. Here, let me just put it on the screen because it's easier with the visual. Marginal tax rates. Because it seems like if you have this guy who's being promoted as some guru on the internet who doesn't even know what marginal tax rates are, God knows what the average person also thinks about these. But yeah, if you don't know how marginal tax rates work, this is how it is in the U.S. right now. If you make $11,600 a year, you don't pay anything above 10% taxes. You pay 10%, so you owe, what is that? You owe $1,016 in taxes. All the money above that, up to $47,150, you pay 12% taxes on. So you pay 10% up to $11,600. Doesn't matter if you make $1 billion a year or $40,000. This is the tax rate you pay for the first $11,600 income. Then up to $47,150, you pay 12% through that threshold. Then once you get above that, up through $100,525, you pay 22% on that money. Then once you get beyond that, you pay 24% up to $191,000. And again, once upon a time, like if you made an astronomical amount of money, once you're above that astronomical part, you pay 90% on that. So if they made it so that everything above $5 million you pay 90% taxes on, that doesn't mean you're paying 90% on anything below the $5 million. But once you get to $5 million, if you make $10 million a year, that does mean that through $5 million up to $10 million, that part of your income you would pay 90% on. And, the super wealthy obviously don't like that, but you look back in history, when they did that, people were doing a lot better. That's the time period when, school was relatively inexpensive. Nobody, again, one adult could work in the household and have enough money without having to go get a loan to send their kid to college. So, And again, you look at it, you look at why it is that way. We now live in a nation where what? A handful of people, the people that were standing behind Trump, have the same amount of wealth as 50% of the nation. So imagine that group is having to pay 90% taxes on everything above 5 million. Here, what percentage of Americans make $5 million a year? I'm guessing this is way less than 1% of the populace. Making $1 million a year or more puts you in the top 0.1%. So 0.1% is 1 in 1,000. So 1 in 1,000 people in America make $1 million. 5 million, it's probably a very small group of people. And again, once upon a time, because there's always been a nation of these super fat cats that have way more money than everybody else. Is it such a bad idea to have them pay a high tax rate? People like to argue that, oh, well, then they're not as incentivized to go out and create jobs. But it's like, do these people really like make America better for everyone else? Or do they get extra greedy and buy politicians and make more and more policy that makes it so Walmart can have the taxpayers pay for their stores across the nation so they can drive out all the small business and then, eat up the whole market? Because that kind of seems like what happened in the era of 90% tax rates going away. So if we're going to have taxation, personally, I don't think there should be any income tax. That's my own personal belief. But this argument about 90% taxes, I do hear it. So if that's how he's saying they're going to pay for all this by taxing the rich, okay. It's still not free. It's still not free. It's not fair to say free city buses. Public child care. Again, none of this stuff is free. Again, you want the super rich to pay for everything. There's an argument for that. City-owned grocery stores. Again, that's just going to further the alliance of the state and the corporation. A rent freeze on rent-stabilized units. See, the problem with things like that, too, is who can afford that kind of stuff are the BlackRocks of the world because they have so much wealth. For the person who's trying to buy their first rental property and pay a mortgage and have a renter in the unit, again, as much as mortgages are right now, you might have to charge a lot for rent, just like everybody's paying for rent. It's a double-edged sword, though. If you want to have rent freeze, yeah, you'd help out the people who can't afford rent, and I get that, but realize what it just gives more power to those who already have the resources. People who can afford to take a loss because they have so much wealth. A guy just bought his first rental, and all of a sudden they're going to institute prices that make the rental rate set here. That guy might just barely be covering the mortgage or taking a small loss, but it's affordable because he knows in a few years when he pays down principal, if he can refinance, then he's going to be profitable. That person, if all of a sudden they're like, oh God, now I'm losing this much money a month. And the thing is, when you have a mortgage, in time your mortgage goes up because part of your mortgage payment is your property taxes, and they're always on the rise. And it sounds like with the things he's doing, there's a good chance that property taxes are going up. So your mortgage might be going up, but you can't make more money on your rent. Only BlackRock and these kind of things can contend. Building affordable housing units. Again, we know how those kind of things often turn out. A lot of times that ends up being the neighborhood you don't want to live in. So yeah, it's just we need people campaigning on. We need to get rid of the central banks. We need to get rid of this alliance of corporation and government. People controlling all the money and with it all the policy that benefits them more and more, while it makes the cost of living impossible for almost everybody else. We know why what's really happened is happening. Again, Agenda 2030. By 2030 you'll own nothing and be happy. All of this stuff is about centralized control, and his policies, they might all sound good, but all of these policies lead to greater central control by, again, what is already the ruling class. That's why people get played. Let's see who his father and his mother are. He spent some time in South Africa, too. That's a theme right now with the whole Elon Musk thing. His father is a Ugandan academic, author, and political commentator of Indian ancestry based in New York City. Remember, the word Indian is 33 as well. Supposedly Columbus, paid for by the Catholic Church, confused the people here with Indians. He is the Herbert Lehman Professor of Government and a Professor of Anthropology, Political Science, and African Studies at Columbia University. Go figure. With all the stuff going on with Columbia, you guys remember all the coverage we had on the Columbia stuff going on earlier this year? The raid on the dorm room, 56 years to the day, from 68 to 2024. All right, so yeah, his father's definitely a somebody in the city of New York. 20th director of Makerere Institute of Social Research. I don't know what that is. That's in Uganda. We build for the future. Okay. All right, what about his mother? His mother is an Indian American filmmaker. Oh, so kid's been hanging around some actors like so many other politicians on the world stage. They got to be able to read the script. Filmmaker based in New York City. She must work in Bollywood. Her production company is Mirabai Films. Well, I guess not. They're headquartered out in New York. They collaborate with things like Walt Disney. Okay. Among her films are Mississippi Masala, The Namesake, The Golden Lion, and Winning Monsoon Wedding, as well as Salam Bombay. All right, so mom's connected to showbiz. Dad's an academic. In the early days of my research, when I first started in 2013, I noticed that everything was tracing back through the Ivy League system and the Jesuit universities. She's also 67 years old right now, the 19th prime. She'll turn 68 20 days before the election. How old was Dad? How old is Dad again? Oh, Dad's a lot older. Dad found himself a young lady. Oh, go figure. Dad's 79 right now. Born on the 113th day of the year. We were talking about how this ritual went down 79 days for the 9/11 anniversary. Let's see how it lined up with Mom and Pop's birthday here. April 23rd, 2025 to June 24th, 2025. 62 days after Dad's birthday. Mason is 62. Again, it's modern Freemasonry's birthday. Span is 63 days. I feel like there's a terrorism joke there. What is it? Terrorism, again, has got the 63. 54 days after the primary, or after 9/11 is the election. And Mom's birthday was 3 days before his, October 15th. Whoops. 22nd triangular number. I don't really know what to say about that. It was 113 days before Mom's birthday. The primary was span of 114, like the 114 Surats, the election on November 4th. Okay. Update: CIA has new information that there actually was credible damage, severe damage to the nuclear sites. Well, what happened to totally obliterated? Okay. All right, I got to wrap this up here in about 10, 15 minutes. If you guys do want to call in, the number's up there. Fox News, of course, is going to echo the complete obliteration, which goes against what Iran said, as well as what Israel said. Israel also said there wasn't complete obliteration. But Fox is going to say Israel and Iran and U.S. agree on Trump's Iran strikes. Well, that's contrary to what's actually been said, but Fox News is probably a lot of people think it's the best news network, but it's probably the least credible news network. Again, it was founded by Republicans. It's pretty much just all pro-Republican. If you turn it on, all the problems are still because of the Clintons and Obama and the Democrats. Republicans are just so perfect and holy. All right, let's see. What's up, 510? 510? Hello?
Yo, what up, Zach, man? Your phone last couple of streams, dog.
Hold on, I got to change the setting because it's doing the thing where it cuts out.
It's good.
Let's try that again, 510. It was cutting out. I got to go this way.
It's good. You can hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Nah, you're saying the line was off the last couple of years. I was trying to call, but this is just like you called it, man. It's just good old control out of chaos. Good to wrap it up, just trying to got my brother over here, we were just chopping over about this stuff. But yeah, man, and I did kind of miss the stream, but was that the first president to ever cuss like on TV like that? Or has other presidents done that before?
The Apprentice on Freemasonry's birthday dropping the F-bomb.
It's crazy. Yeah, but no, it's just crazy. Isn't he the first, right? I've never, that was crazy. But in a good way.
Yeah.
But
something funny that CNN did do last night is they did a compilation of Fox News talking about a recent Democratic congresswoman who used the F word about a couple months back, and they were showing all the clips of how disgusted they were and just how horrible that is, and what a reflection of what a trash party they are. And then they showed the Fox News segment yesterday how they were saying it was kind of cool, and it shows that Trump really means business, how he uses the F word. This is what drives me nuts about people. It's like, see, can't you see that this network is nothing but bullshit and spin? Again, this, even though I don't like CNN either, but I mean, they're showing you that when the woman said F, it was like the worst thing ever, trash political party. But then when Trump says it, it's cool. It shows authority. I mean, you can't see that you're just listening to people that are bullshitting you and don't mean anything they say. They just want you to think a certain way. It's just so obvious.
Do you call that? Do you think it's like a algorithm thing, or I don't know, man. What do you? Okay, I haven't really called it in a while, but I'm just my next question though is what do you think is the next step? Do you think what are you gonna do when the grid goes down? Do you think the next cyber attack is gonna happen, or?
Well, we just covered that. We just covered that days ago. Why to look out for July 7th. So
July 7th, man. What you gonna do when the grid goes down? All right, man. But I feel like that was coming, man.
Oh yeah, that reminds me too. We just had that the other day. We just had that as a CNN headline the other day. You saw the story, 201 ways to say fuck. You saw that story?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just covered that. We just covered that. Here, I'll put it up here. This was just in the news right after Trump's birthday. This was right after Trump's birthday, CNN. 201 ways to say fuck. Yeah.
It's insanity, man. Hey, everyone hit that like button, man. Zach is really a grinder, bro. A straight unit machine, bro. I'm always giving Zach the props, man. 10 years strong, bro. But last thing, though, I just want to, give you props, bro. I really haven't been a Patreon either, bro. I've just been kind of on a live shit too grind, but football season's coming up. I just wanted to say, I'm gonna say this. I can't believe it happened, bro. So you know what to say, man. The Steelers have gotten Aaron Rodgers, bro, in the 106th season.
I told you it made sense, didn't I? I told you it made sense.
But since that has happened, and we have an actual quarterback to go against the Chiefs, what are you thinking, bro?
Well, we'll cover all that later. That's not the topic for today, man. But we'll cover that.
It's good. I'm gonna be joining back and just know I'm coming full steam. I'm bullish on that, bro, because that's actually crazy as fuck that you call that. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is crazy, bro. How that? I don't know, bro. And then he's talking about I'm gonna give it my all, like I'm giving everything in the tank. And he's talking about like he's had little similarities with like the Peyton Manning shit. So it's like, bro, do you think it's this year the 108th season or something like that? Or like, let me talk about, man. But yeah, just know. Coming, Zach. I'm coming bullish. I'm back to the Patreon, man.
All right.
Take my call, bro. And, all right, man.
All right, appreciate it. Take care. We got 559. What's up, 559?
Zach, I got a little rant, man. I was watching your breakdown when you were talking about on the finals the other day. And you were talking about a bunch of other shit, how it all links up. I gotta tell you, man. For a guy, man, I played a little bit of college ball. Basketball was my life, man. I got to tell you, I just don't enjoy it anymore because I cannot unlearn or unsee the shit that you've taught, man. So, and I'm like, this shit is just I don't like sports anymore. You know what I mean? And
well, you like sports, you just don't like watching the rigged pro sports, is what you mean.
Yeah, it all just kind of blew up in my face because I cannot deny that this shit is rigged. I can't do that now. And so when you know something to be the truth, you're kind of, you're going through this phase where you're hurt about the shit. You know what I mean? And so I guess I'm in a phase right now. What do you think about that type of shit, man?
Oh, well, I mean, for me, the final straw for pro sports for me was when the Blazers lost Game 7 to the Lakers, being up nearly 20 points to start the fourth quarter, and then didn't even try to play basketball in the fourth quarter. I just thought, I just didn't know how anyone could see how obvious the rig was, and the Blazers were all told to throw in the towel because, I mean, as someone who knows how to play basketball, if you have a 20-point lead, you're using the clock. You're getting that clock down to at least 5 seconds left before you're trying to put up any shot. Man, they're running down the court. They're firing up threes that don't make any sense. They're not trying to rebound. They're letting the Lakers just run right down the court and get free lay-ins. For people don't know that infamous highlight you've seen a million times of the Kobe Shaq alley-oop or nobody else on that. That's that game. And it was just so obvious to me. I was like, we're Portland, man. We're a small city. NBA is going to be making a lot more money with LA that has about a gazillion more people that live in the city. And that's, you just so obvious. Big cities always in the championships. He'll say, well, what about San Antonio? Well, San Antonio's in Texas, which has a massive population as well. So it's, I already had and I grew up in the time of Jordan, and I watched the Blazers lose to Jordan in the finals as a kid, and I noticed back then, I thought, man, you can't guard Jordan. If he misses the shot and you're guarding him and playing good defense, they're going to call a foul. And Jordan can claw the next dude's eyes out, and they won't blow the whistle at all. It's been this way our whole lifetimes. It's just gotten worse. The one thing that was better about when I was a kid watching the Jordan era is people played defense, and you actually had to be able to dribble a basketball to be on the court. Now you're watching Halliburton. How many carries did Halliburton do before he went down with this fake injury to close out the 79th season after scoring 9 points in 7 minutes? Let's let the tape roll here. Tell me how many carries you see here, because this isn't basketball. This is street ball right here. Every time this man handles the ball, just like almost everybody in the NBA, they put their hand all the way under the ball. Blow the whistle. That's a turnover. Let's go the other way. Get somebody on the court that can actually dribble.
Kevin Durant, I always call him out for that type of shit. I'm like, these guys are super fucking tall. It's not entertaining for a guy to be that tall that dunk like the Windiana dude. I'm like, this is amazing. No, it's not. Motherfucker's 9 feet tall. That's not really entertaining. He's so talented. No, he's not. He's just really fucking tall. And, you never really see a guy that tall that can be that coordinated, but still. Not that fucking impressive, man.
No, it's not.
They just blow it up in the media. Yeah.
And look at that. He just falls down, and that's, come on, man. After scoring 9 points, he's down. If you look at his box score, 7 minutes, 9 points. This is the last game of the 79th season where we said in the preseason, Thunder are the Sonics. Sonics won it in 79, 46 years ago. Oklahoma was the 46th state. And you got to love that OKC equals 16, and the score was 16 all as he goes down with his little fake injury. So...
That injury was so fucking fake, dude.
Yeah, just like the Tatum injury was fake. The Tatum injury is fake, too.
Yeah, dude. Okay, and then to that point, man. Years ago, before I ever got up on you, man, years ago, I would see some people. I mean, like Google's kind of scrubbed some of these photos, man. But I would see photos of Kobe Bryant. LeBron James still does it. He throws up like the 3 fingers, acting like he's putting on a crown, and they're doing these hand signal rituals all over the fucking place, man. And so I'm like, is that's Dave? Is that them signaling that they're down with the agenda? They're part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, always throwing up the same hand signs.
Yeah. Michael Jordan's 2-3. That's number? His 2-3 is a 6. 2-3 is that? Am I onto that? Like, the shit's Illuminati and all that shit.
First of all, the initials MJ are 23. Symbol's 23. The man is literally a symbol. He's one of the most famous symbols in the world. All over, I mean, almost every sports jersey now is wearing Jordan, whether it has anything to do with basketball or not. You got NASCAR guys wearing Jordan Jumpman logo.
The Chicago Bulls symbol, is that Eastern Star, the upside down star?
Well, I don't think it would be the Eastern Star since that's women, but the bull is Taurus. We saw Scottie Pippen, number 33, lose his son at age 33 on the first day of Taurus. And it's like when Jordan's dad died, he died 33 days from the NBA Finals after Jordan won his 3rd chip, and he died on I-95, and Sirius equals 95. That's the song the Bulls came out to, Sirius.
Right. One more thing about this before I hop off, man. I seen a video, this was some years ago, man. This might have been like 2012 or something. I seen Dick Gregory, old black man.
I know Dick Gregory. Yeah, he was the guy who caught on to the kill date was when Dick Gregory died, which is a long time ago now.
Yeah. He there was a video of him, somebody caught of him saying some wild shit, man. He said, somebody had brought up a question about entertainers and sports, and they said something about Michael Jordan. Dick Gregory said Michael Jordan died in 1993 in the back of a pickup truck or some he died broke or some shit like that. And they're like, so who the fuck is this guy that we saw after that, I don't fucking know, man.
Well, it is creepy to think that they might have the ability to, I mean, I don't know if the whole cloning thing is real or not, but it's possible. I mean, they say that about Paul McCartney of the Beatles, too. He supposedly died in a car accident on September 11th of all days, and then there was a long hiatus where the Beatles didn't make any albums, and then if you look at the images, I mean, if you guys are now looking at the Paul McCartney thing, they point out that the new Paul McCartney was taller. He was clearly taller because they got pictures of the whole band, and all of a sudden McCartney's gained a few inches after this hiatus of a bad car accident, and then, so, but, I mean, then the questions come, well, his voice sounds the same and all this, and he's obviously still musically talented, so how do you pull off all that? I don't have the answers to all these questions, but I don't know. I don't know all their capability. They're clearly advanced.
Yeah, very strange, man. But, yeah, man, I'll go ahead and let you go with that, man. So, yeah, man, it was cool chopping up with you. I'll talk to you.
All right, appreciate it. Take care. Yeah, when Pippen's son died, I mean, that was one of the most blatant things ever. And then what? They just did something recently with Jordan's son, too. What did they do with Jordan's son recently? Didn't they give him the 42 treatment? Let me go back. There's so many things that we've covered. I mean, people always think I have this good memory. I probably remember 0.0001% of all the things I've covered. Oh, yeah, on February 4th, MJ's son gets arrested for a DUI. Rosa Parks' birthday. He had to take the bus home. The jail bus. What's up, 917?
Doesn't Michael Jordan's father in Satanic equal the day that he died?
I don't... I think it's Michael Jeffrey Jordan equals the day that his father died.
Yeah, something like that. Right, and was he like 5'6" or something like that? He was like shorter than
he's like Halliburton's dad. Halliburton's dad's all small too. It's like, how are these small men having these huge sons?
Amazing. Yeah, I just wanted to add that in. All right, Zach. All right.
Appreciate it. Hold on. I think I got it in this old post here. What's the young kid? Well, the Len Bias sacrifice was for Jordan, and then also what's his name? Benji, young Chicago player that got killed too around the time of Jordan coming up. There have been a lot of deaths for Jordan over the years, but hold on, I thought I had it in this post. Oh, there it is. James Raymond Jordan Sr. equals 237, and he died on July 23rd. See, back in the day, I had to do everything by hand because I didn't even know about these gematria calculators. But then I went back once I learned about it and took screenshots and added them in. But yeah, James Raymond Jordan Sr., that's what it is. And he died on 23/7. He also died at interstate where I-95 and Highway 74 intersect, and just that pairing of 74 and 33. Michael 33, NBA Finals 33. He just won his 33rd or his third chip 33 days earlier. What's Chicago basketball player killed? Benji, I can't think of his name. Benji Wilson. Here, let me pull up this post. I mean, it's crazy how many bodies there are connected to entertainment. And hold up, I know I got a post on this. All right, just to go back to this, they named the street after him. His 38 years later. Bulls went 38 and 44 the year that he died. Shooting 44, death, murder, killing, RIP 38. Think about George Floyd killed on the corner of 38th in Chicago. Chicago equals 46. George Floyd was 46. Houston, Texas, 46, where he's from. The Bulls became 7-6 the day Ben Wilson died. Michael Jordan equals 76. If you guys don't know, Michael Jordan equals 59 and 76, right? The number stamped all over Black history. Slave has that 59-76, like Negro, like Rasta, like Blues. Again, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year, recognized by the feds in 76. The first black president, Renegade, his Secret Service name, that's Obama. Barack Obama, 76. Don't forget that Obama announced he was running for president on February 10th on the anniversary of Black History Month being recognized by the feds. He did that on the 31st anniversary in 2007. I'll take one more call and then I got to go. 908.
Hey, Zach, I just want to drop a tip in. If you do a search for National Blueprint for Biodefense, the thing I'm talking about should be the first PDF. And all I want you to read is scenario and recommendation 21.
Did you say biodefense?
Yes, National Blueprint for Biodefense. And it should be a PDF as the first result. It's 177 pages. Trust me, you're going to see it instantly.
Okay. I'm looking it up. Right here, 177 pages, just like he said. So I'll see it instantly.
It should be, I think, on page 4 or 5 is scenario. Like page 3 is scenario, and then recommendation 21. It's such mockery, Zach.
Acknowledgements. Is it after the acknowledgements?
Yep. If you just look on the bottom of each page that has a number, it should be the third one. It says scenario in big white letters.
Oh, page 3. Scenario. Okay.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, read that, and then recommendation 21. It's just corporatocracy, and with the medical martial law aspect as the inception point. But again, maybe something digging deeper later. But I just want to give you this tip because I've been looking at it the last few days. I don't know. I think this could be maybe the precipice into this new kind of medical dominion.
Sure.
It seems like the excuse for the new Patriot Act. So,
yeah, it reminds me that Event 201 was on the day leaving 74 days left in the year, which is now the New York mayor's, or potentially the next New York mayor's birthday, October 18th. So I see that it's all about an attack on 7/4 this year. Interesting. I appreciate the heads up on this.
Sure, and yeah, just one more thing to connect. It involves Bush's, I forget what position he was in, but Libby, and I'm sorry, this is a little bit before my time, but he wrote in a fictional book called The Apprentice, and it's all about a smallpox virus from the perspective of Japan. So, again, another thing to just drop in, but this Libby guy, he's someone who was on the commission for this report. And if you look through the name of the commissioners, boy, it's just everyone glows in the dark. But yeah, again, I hope you have a good day, and I hope this is helpful.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the tip. It is.
Yeah, have a great day.
All right, yeah, you too. All right, I do got to go get Sweet Girl. I structured things differently so Sweet Girl could be watched until later in the day, because obviously I'm not normally streaming at this time. I'm normally holding Sweet Girl while she's taking a nap on my chest, which is what we're going to go do here in a minute. Real quick, though, about this Ben Wilson thing. Again, basketball star, Chicago, dead in the time that Jordan's new in the league, Jordan's rookie season. He was shot 277 days after Jordan's birthday, the 59th prime, like Michael Jordan's 59. His name, Ben Wilson, 113, like Michael Jordan, like the National Basketball Association. So then I look at this stuff and I'm saying, like, are these both Manchurians and Michael Jordan's panning out so they don't need Ben Wilson? It's just... Or is Ben Wilson chosen because he's a good basketball player and he's got the 113 in his name too? I mean, you think about Chicago, big city. There's obviously going to be a lot of good athletes. Statistically, somebody's going to have the 113 connection. He was killed exactly 22 weeks or 154 days after the draft of Jordan. Ritual sacrifice 154, like basketball 22. He was shot with a 22. Remember when Ben Wilson, who still can't shoot a basketball, was drafted #1 overall into a league where you paid millions, you'd be expected to shoot a basketball, and he went with his cousin, and then his cousin died the night of the draft, and nobody blinks an eye? I still remember when Clowney got drafted #1 overall in the NFL, and as they went to commercial break, ESPN played it, Clowney going, "I sold my soul for this." It's like, oh my God. God. Oh my God. It's all out there. It's just nobody's paying attention. That's what's maddening. Half the people can't pay attention because they're under the influence of something. You got a whole bunch of addicts in this nation, and the reason people are checked out is because, again, they just... Really, they do all the damage to us when we're children, man. The state school system is... it's destructive for most people. It is. They steal your childhood. They fill your head with lies. They indoctrinate you. D26 trying to call in. I got to take a D26 phone call, but I do got to go get Sweet Girl. What's up, D26?
Since it is 25th of June over there, it's already 26th over here. It's also death anniversary of Michael Jackson. I missed your stream, so I don't know if you talked about him. I'm making a video, so it will be uploaded roughly in 2 to 5 minutes, maybe. It will be uploaded as a tribute on him. And since you're a 90s kid, I'm not going to share any decodes. I know you need to leave. I just called you for a quick recommendation. Since you're a 90s kid, have you ever heard about Indian rap songs? Like English Indian rap songs?
I couldn't name an Indian rapper off the top, but I'm looking forward to your Michael Jackson video.
Yeah, I think it's just going to take 2 minutes to upload that. So there is a song, there's a singer, a rapper, you can say, from India. He grew up in the US, but he's natively Indian, and he grew up in India, lived a few years in US, so he has that accent. The song which recently got a lot of attention from the US are 2 of his songs, but the recent most song is called Run It Up. You might have heard it on the radio if you're on traveling, because that's what I've heard, that this Indian singer, rapper has gone very much, got a good reception in US on the radio. So do check that out and let me know how do you like it. It's called Run It Up.
Okay.
And I'm just uploading the video because it will be get flagged. The video which I am uploading, that also is a song sung by an Indian singer I would say in my generation and even from your generation, he's the best singer in India. One of the best, one of the greats, who collaborated with Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson's older brother. And they made this tribute. They wrote this song and they also performed it in India back in 2012, I guess, or 2010. So yeah, using that song for for my tribute video, and maybe on Michael Jackson's birthday, I will upload a compilation of all my dance performances since 2018. So
all right, I look forward to that.
I just found all my old videos, so I just look very thin on those. But yeah, let me know how do you like that.
I already know I'm gonna like them all. I'll be hitting the like button on all of them and leaving a comment. All right, I look forward to it.
All right, yeah, you too. Have a good day.
All right, take care. See. Yeah, D26. He's the moonwalker of India. So it is Michael Jackson's death anniversary. Died on George Orwell's birthday. George Orwell, Mr. 1984. Of course, Michael Jackson had a monster year in 1984. You know it's not an accident that he died on Orwell's birthday. But yeah, I gotta go get Sweet Girl. Thank you to Blizzard Peak, Open Up, John Mendoza, Nima, Run Your Pockets, and the Intuitive Solution. And thank you to everyone else for hitting the like and the share. And again, when the stream's over, if you guys can take a minute and just leave a comment, not in the live chat, but just a one-word comment. It's supposed to help the algorithm. I think it's been helping because a lot of you guys have been helping out with that. There's 212 people in here. I guarantee if all 212 of you just left a one-word comment, you'd see this video probably shoot up in views a lot faster. So if you got 5-10 seconds to do that, much appreciated. It helps fight the censorship. Have a good day, and until next time, Truth Seeker.